What's up, guys? In the previous video, we went over session terms, trading terms, and the different types of trading styles. And I told you guys that we were going to go over how to set up your trading view. Now, to even get on this platform, you want to go here if you're on desktop or laptop. And if you're on mobile, just want to watch and see what I'm talking about. There is a mobile app called just Trading View. Now, but this is where you want to go. You can either choose to use the web version or the app. I personally use the apps. A lot of people use the web version, personal preference. But I'm going to give you guys time, and you can pause this video if you need to and download this. But once you download it, you're going to see a chart, and it's going to look completely foreign to you. You probably are sitting there wondering what is on my chart as of right now, but don't worry. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up and make my chart look exactly how yours look. This is pretty much what your chart probably looks like. Now, let's start from the top left, and we're going to make our way all the way around to the top, to the sides, to the bottom, back to the top left. And by that time, your chart should be looking smooth. It shouldn't look cluttered. It should look very calm and collective. Now, the first thing we're going to get into up here is your profile. This is your profile where you can explore your plans, your billing, your profile. You can turn off the drawing panel, and you can go over all the different shortcuts for your chart and stuff. Just little stuff like that. After that, you will come across something called a symbol. Now, right now, they probably have you on here, which is Apple. I'm pretty sure this is what they start most people on. But these are the symbols that you will be using once you trade futures. You'll be using GC, gold futures with COMEX. You'll be using NQ, NASDAQ with the CME, ES, S&P futures CME, or some people do trade YM, which is the Dow Jones with CBOT. These are different things people trade, and the ones I recommend the most will either be NQ if you like trading in the morning, or you could trade gold. Both of them are very tradable in the morning, or if it doesn't really fit your schedule, you need to trade at night, I definitely recommend trading gold. Now, if you want to know how to just navigate through a bunch of different ones without having to type them in, you will go to it and you will click this little flag on the left of them, right? You click this flag, it's going to highlight it, and it's going to put it on something called a watch list. So if I wanted to go to NQ, I simply would go to it, and I would flag it right here. And it will add it to something over here called a watch list on the top right. You can just navigate through all of them pretty fast with the space bar on your keyboard, and you don't have to keep typing them in. Now, this is your ticker. This is where you're going to look for a whole bunch of different stuff. This is where you will find your assets that you're going to trade, whether that's currencies, futures, crypto, stocks. This is where you find that stuff at. Also, an easy way to do it is to just start typing. If you just start typing randomly on your keyboard, it will pop up. What's after that? Time frames. This is very important in trading. So I'm going to take all of this off, and I'm going to tell you guys the best time frames to keep on your thing. First, what are time frames? Time frames are the span of each of these separate candles. Let's say you go to 1 day. 1 day stands for a full day's worth of price. As you can see on here to the right, you see this timer for 12 hours, 47 minutes, and 40 some seconds. That means in 12 hours and 47 minutes, this red candle will stop moving and it will print the one beside it. Just like this whole massive green candle represents 24 hours. And once it was done, once this timer was up, it stopped and printed this one right here. So that is a key time frame you can save. You will click the star beside it. That way you don't have to keep coming on here to find it. The next most important time frame is this 4 hour. It is the same thing as the daily. Each of these long green candlesticks or red candlesticks represent 4 hours worth of price. So in 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 1 second, this candle will stop and the next candle will begin to print and move. The reason these candles do not move anymore is because their 4 hours were over with. The current 4 hour that is happening right now is this candle, which is why you see slight movement within it. That is an important one you should favorite. The next important one, in my opinion, here is the 1 hour. These are the most common time frames that people use. These are the most powerful time frames that people use. It's the same thing. In 46 minutes, this 1 hour candle will stop moving. And down here, you can also see your time. If this is not the time you prefer, you can also come in here, click it, make sure it's on your time zone. And then you want to come in here to settings. You want to go to scales and lines. And you want to come all the way down to time hours format and change it to 12 hours. That way it can match your time without it looking like military time to you. And if it's on 24 hours, this will not go to 1 p.m. It will go to 13. Therefore, you can read this much better. Now, if you're wondering how I got here, I'm on desktop. I simply right-clicked on my background and clicked settings. Now, for laptop, MacBook, HP, there's different ways you right-click your background. But if you guys are struggling to get to that, hover over the candles and double-click it, and it will take you to all of this. Now, that is how these time frames work. The rest of the time frames you should favorite are 15-minute and 5-minute. The rest of the time frames you can favorite over time if you become comfortable with them and you do want to use them. And I do want to show a live example. Here are a bunch of 1-minute candles. As you can see, in about 5 seconds right here on this timer to the right, in 3 seconds, this candle will stop moving and print a new one. Boom. This candle is not moving no more. And now this candle is. So in 50 seconds, it will be the same thing. This candle will stop moving and the next candle will print open and begin to move. That is what these time frames are. What's next? Different types of charts. You have a variety of different types of charts you can use. The most common chart type used are Japanese candlesticks. Japanese candlesticks is basically what's on my chart right now. Yes, this looks very foreign, but you will learn exactly how to read them and how to use them to day trade. Now, another chart type that is commonly used is a line chart. People use the line chart for various reasons, to understand price structure, price movement, but the most common will be candles, Japanese candlesticks. You don't really need to look at any of these. You can over time at some point if you want, but the one you need to stick with is candles. So don't go out from this one. Stick with this. Indicators. Indicators are different things you could throw on your chart to give you like an assist. Think of it like you have training wheels on your bike. You have something that's going to assist you with your trading. There are different types of stuff you can use. There's different things you can search. People have created all kinds of stuff. I even have my own things I've created myself. Just think of it something that's going to assist you in your trading and give you like a little breathing room, something that's going to do something automatically so you don't have to keep doing it, right? All the lines and stuff you might choose to draw on your chart, you probably won't have to because the indicator will draw it for you. So just think of the indicator like something that will assist you in your trading in the future. What's next? Alerts. Alerts are pretty much something you can use if you are day trading or swing trading. If you day trade and you want a certain level to get hit, you would create an alert, right? So let's say I'm going to create this alert right here. Price hit the alert, and this is exactly what it's going to do. It's going to make a loud noise, and it's going to notify you that, hey, this level was hit. So what do you want to do once your level is hit? That's when you want to come back to the chart. That tells you either your stop loss was hit, your take profit was hit, or you just hit an important area you wanted to watch for. And the best part about it, you didn't have to sit at your computer and wait for it to happen. You set an alert and you just walked away. Now, how do you set an alert without having to come up here and go through all the pricing stuff? Well, on this right, you see this plus sign that I'm going over consistently. You could press this plus sign anywhere you want, and then click add alert, right? You click add alert, and whenever this white line is hit, once again, it will chime, and you will pretty much get notified through your phone if you have the mobile app, or you'll hear it on your desktop or laptop, and you could come back and check the chart. Now, what's next? Replay. Replay is only given to people that pay for the essential plan with trading. The essential plan essentially costs around $15. I think $14.95. You could pay for that, and you get something called replay. If you want to practice, you can literally just go back in time and act as if nothing happened. And no, you cannot make money from this. You will get these two options up here to buy and sell. So if you sold right here, you could practice with stop losses. You could practice with TPs, and you could just practice and a strategy back test for the week. If you missed a week, you can see what your estimated profits will be with the contracts. You can close it for money, but it's not real money. It is simulated. It is fake. So here we're gonna go ahead and see that we made $1,100, and that was us back testing. You use replay for something called back testing. It's pretty much just going back with historical data and practicing a strategy or practicing an edge. So that is what replay mode is, and that is how you would utilize it. What are these two? Just like Word or any like Microsoft platform you use, there are back buttons and forward buttons. If you make a mistake, you just click back. If you didn't mean to go back too far, you just redo it. So undo and redo. Pretty simple. This over here, this is called a layout setup. If you want two charts on one massive screen, you can use a layout. Therefore, it will look like this. Now, as you can see, excuse me, I have a NASDAQ symbol right here and a gold symbol right here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change this to regular gold because I do want to get into what the difference is between regular and micro futures. So whenever this loads, we're going to go ahead and get into it. There we go. So this gives you the option to have two charts on your screen. Now, you could also do three, but you have to pay for that. I don't think it's really necessary to have that many. Depending on how you're trading, you shouldn't really only ever need like one. The best thing in my opinion is stick with one symbol, stick with one ticker. It's not really worth paying all that money at all unless you have something else going on with your trading. Like unless you want to have like trade stocks and you want to have like 7 different screens up. I definitely don't recommend that if you're trading futures. You definitely only need 1 to 2. But that is what that's for. Here, it's basically like you're saving a layout. So let's say I decorate my chart a certain way. I come up here and I will save it, and I can always just come back up here and click it, and it will go right back to what it was. So here's a bunch of other ones that I have. I have no idea what they look like, but they are saved. So if I click it, it's gonna change my chart to something else. Open anyway. It changed my chart to green. Come here. Change my chart to this. And if I come here, it changed my chart to this. So they're all just different things. You could just keep saving them, and they will all be different colors. And like I said, if you right click with settings, you'll come here, and you also have different templates you could use. They all are different colors as you decorate your chart and make it more clean. So that is how you use templates and stuff. But I'm going to teach you guys how to do all that in a minute. Now, you don't need quick search. This is an easier settings button if you don't want to double click or right click your background, sorry. You can just come up here and click settings. But in my opinion, right click is the fastest way to go to it. Here is what you see, full screen mode. It will remove a bunch of stuff and put you right in full screen. And now you're wondering, how will you go through your time frames and stuff? Well, just like the symbols with time frames, you can type and it will come up. You can type 5, it will automatically say 5 minutes. You could type 30 minutes. Or you could type 60 and it will do 1 hour. But that's how full screen works. You press escape to get out of it. Here is your download copy. If you want to take a picture of your chart, or if you want to just copy the image, you could paste it in your messages somewhere and send it to somebody. Just things like that. That's what that's for. You can also download it. It could get saved to your computer. This is trade. Um, this button is kind of useless, but also very useful at the same time. You will press this, and this is how you can set up pretty much whatever you're trading with. And publish. If you want to save stuff to your account, you could come here to your profile, and everything that you publish is pretty much going to be saved in here. So I have stuff published all the way from 2023. So that is pretty much what the publish does. Here, watch list, I already kind of went over that. You can have a different watch list for futures or Forex, whichever one you choose. Here's your alerts. Here's any active alerts that you might have. If you are curious on if your price is triggering random places and you don't know what the alert is, pretty much you see what all your alerts are. Here is your objects, pretty much everything that's on your charts. So let's say I draw this on my chart, it's gonna pop up here in my object, and I can just remove it. So right now it says GC1 COMEX, and that's pretty much because I'm on the Gold Futures COMEX chart. Here, you see a bunch of other people's ideas. Pretty useless in my opinion. You don't really need to focus on other people's ideas. You need to focus on your own strategy, your own edge. Here, you don't need this. You don't need this unless you're creating an indicator. You don't really have to come in here for this. You don't need pretty much any of this over here. But this is a calendar for news. I don't recommend using this for news. It could look very confusing. I definitely recommend using something called a Forex Factory. I will get into that. Here is community, just a bunch of more other people's ideas, notifications. If you create stuff, you can see people like your thing, stuff like that. Your time, adjust for contract changes. Definitely want to turn that on if you're on futures. You want to keep that on. Keep electronic trading hours on, and make sure your time frame is correct. If you're trading Eastern Standard Time, make sure it is UTC4 New York. Now, how to set up your paper trading. If you want to start trading simulated already, you come up here and click trade, and you will click paper trading and click connect. Now, when I have your paper trading connected, you'll see it down here. If you click it, you'll see your profits, you'll see your starting balance. And if you ever get to a point where you just lost so much, you can always come in here and let me see if I can find it. Click the settings and reset your account. You reset your account. You started at 50,000, 5 or 500, whichever one you choose, and you could just click reset. And as you can see, it will reset everything. Now, we will get into these drawing tools over here. I had to stop the video real quick to do something, but we're gonna get into these drawing tools over here. Now, I want you guys to favorite a few things. And how do you favorite it? You will come here and you will look for this little small arrow beside it. And I want you guys to come into this first arrow where it says trend line. I want you guys to favorite that and horizontal ray. Once you favorite those two, I want you guys to come here about 2 more down. 1, 2, 3 more down. And then I want you guys to favorite long and short position. Once those two are favored, I want you guys to go 1 more under and then favorite rectangle. And you're going to see this somewhere on your chart. Once you favorite everything, these are going to be your main uses for charting on your chart, basically, for analyzing and drawing your chart. And the purpose of a trend line is pretty much a line on your chart that you can use to connect certain points. You can use it for short-term areas. You pretty much see later on how that is very useful. Now, next is horizontal ray. You will use that for like drawing out something you want to see stay in one spot for the future. So let's say I place a horizontal right here. At some point in the future, I want to see these candles end up coming back up here. And the whole purpose of it is when you press it, wherever you press it at, it only goes all the way to the right. It would just forever go until you take it off your chart. And how do you do that? You press it, and then you'll see this pop up, and you want to come to the delete button. Long position tool, you use this if you're in a buy. Short position tool, you would use this if you're in a sell. The red is for your stop loss. The green is for your take profit. And this is the rectangle. You would pretty much use this to draw out certain things like a fair value gap or inverse fair value gap. And I know you guys have no idea what that is, but later on you will know, and you will be using this rectangle for that. Now, I'm going to teach you guys how to make your chart look a little more nice, right? So I want you guys to go to your settings, and you're going to start off with symbol. You could change the color of any of your candles to whatever you want, and it's pretty much just going to change here on your chart. It's going to look crazy or whatever, but you guys will learn how to make it look more neat as time goes. So with borders, I recommend making the borders black at all times. And I recommend making the wicks white or black depending on what your chart looks like. Now, once you have all of this set and whatever colors look best for you, I want you to come here into electronic trading hours background. I want you guys to turn this opacity all the way down to 0. You don't need that. And I want you guys to check adjust for contract changes. Make sure you guys click that. Make sure your time zone is correct. Then next, you will come to scales and lines. And you want to make sure countdown to bar close is checked, so that way you can see that countdown timer here on the right. And you want to make sure the time hours format is 12. Now, next you're going to come here to canvas. And here, probably for you guys, it probably says gradient or whatever. You want to change that to solid, or you can leave the gradient, whichever one you prefer. And you can change your background to pretty much whatever you want. Most people pretty much stick with this top row. It gives you a nice color. You can use all kind of background colors if you want. And right up under it, you're going to go to grid lines, vertical and horizontal. And you're going to change that to none. You can leave it up if you want, but it's probably recommended if you leave it off. And then crosshair, as you can see, if I change it, it's just going to change whatever color my crosshair is. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. And next is text. The color of these numbers here on the right. This right here will change that to whatever you press. And you can also change the size of them. Make them smaller, make them bigger. Up to you. Lines is for if you have the grid lines on. And that's pretty much all you need for this. Trading, make sure your buy, sell buttons are on. If you take it off, there's no way for you to click buy or sell. And then one-click trading allows you to press it one time for you to enter a trade. For example, if I turn it off, I press this, and it's going to take me here to place a trade. If I turn it on, I'm going to press this, and it's just going to enter a trade, right? I don't have to worry about anything. So, as you can see, it finally popped up. I didn't have to click confirm or anything. I just pressed it one time, and it pops up. That's how the one-click trading works. You want to leave that on. Everything else on here, you pretty much don't need it unless you want to take pictures on your chart and show that you entered a trade at a certain point or send it to somebody. You want to leave this on. Alerts, we went over that. You don't really need to come in here. And events is not necessary. What is a template? Once you change the color of your chart, you're going to come in here. You want to save it as a template. So I'm going to say this is 000, right? Now, I have plenty of other templates. You come here, you can see all these different kinds of colors, all kinds of stuff, right? My favorite one is probably going to be this one or this one. These are probably going to be my favorite colors. And as you can see, I did save that 000. All I got to do is come back and click it, and it's going to take me right back to this color right here. That is how that works, and that is how you clean your chart up and make it look a little more neat. After that, you pretty much have your whole trading view set up. You have your time frames. You understand what indicators are. Your paper trading gets set up. You press buy or sell to enter your trades. You pretty much know how that is. Now, one thing I do want to show y'all, and I want you guys to pay close attention. I am on something called gold futures, right? This is gold. If I press 1, which is the minimum quantity you could use on any type of symbols, if I press buy, and I drag this stop loss, remember what stop loss meant when I went over it, to right here, I am risking $520, and that is on gold futures. The minimum one contract, I have to risk $520. I'll pull it right here. Versus if I come here and put MGC instead of futures symbols like GC, NQ, ES, if you put an M in front of it, it will come up as micro. So ES, E mini, S&P, instead of mini, it will come up as micro E mini. Next, I want you guys to look at MGC. So instead of gold futures up here, it is micro gold futures. So if you press that minimum one, so you remember how last time I pressed it and we were risking $500. I press it on here, I should only be risking around 50. As you can see, you could trade a smaller account using micros. You could risk less using micros, and you have more of a chance of protecting your capital using micros. I do want you guys to know 10 micros will add up to 1 mini. So 10 of these will pretty much be one of the gold futures. So now if I drag it back here, I'm back to risking at 500 I was risking on the regular gold. So if it's not micro, it is going to be called mini. So these would be considered, these 10 micros would be considered 1 mini. So this is a mini, and if you put an M in front of it, it's considered a micro. And that is how that works. So you will press this to close the position, and the trade is over with. And you can do this as much as you want because you are paper trading, so there is no limit to how much you could sell and buy. If you run out of money, you can literally just reset it. And in the next video, I will go over how to read these candlesticks. How to read these candlesticks to understand why they are moving the way they are moving. And that is all I got for this video on how to set up your trading view. Hopefully your chart looks pretty nice now. You understand what all these buttons mean, and you understand how to keep everything clean. See y'all in the next one.